This program is sponsored by Imagine Theaters, Able Ideaz, Comic City, and Echo Network.
Hey everybody, welcome to a very special episode of Comic Experience Sci-Fi. I'm Nick.
And I'm Jill. And this week is our first ever Best Of episode with some of our favorite interviews. Check it out.
Let's start the insanity.
Hey comic book geeks and you sci-fi freaks, this is Comic Book Casey coming at you from Comic Experience Sci-Fi. We are at the LA Comic Con. Now I'm currently right here with Billy Bob Thornton and his band of merry men and comic book writers. How did you get involved with this?
Our band, the Boxmasters, has been together about 11 years, and Garrett had this idea about a graphic novel about a band that has to go back in the past and save rock and roll. He wanted to know if we would be willing to be that band, and since we are big fans of this kind of thing anyway, and we're sort of children of the 60s, and our band suited this story.
That's awesome. So basically, after you did the writing, what did you do to get this thing going?
I hooked up with an artist, Stan Yak, who's out of Moscow, Russia, and I just I got some concept pages done and sent it to the band and see what they think, see if they like the art. They dug it, they dug the story, and so we just started rolling. That's pretty much it.
It is a one-shot, right, in that the story has a beginning, middle, and end, and that could be it. But it also leaves an opening so there could be more. Actually, earlier today, we kind of all of us collectively said, yeah, I think we're going to do this again. This one's pretty awesome, and everybody seems to be happy, and the sales numbers are looking good. So Garrett is actually going to be meeting with Billy and the boys, I think even tonight, to start discussing ideas for the second one.
Boxmasters #1 is ready, being distributed right now, being sold in stores around the country, and being presented. Is this the first debut of it here at this Comic-Con?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Maybe you can get Stanley to take a look at it right while he's here.
A little bit, yeah.
How are you enjoying the convention so far?
It's been great. I have my 13-year-old daughter here who's a big fan of Steven Universe and My Little Pony, and we got to meet voice actors from both of those, so she's flying high right now.
You're basically the world's best dad right now.
I got so many points today, you have no idea. Yeah.
Billy Bob Thornton and his band of merry men, the Boxmasters. Collect it, buy it, check it out.
I'm here with the living legend herself, Nichelle Nichols, Lieutenant Uhura. How's it going today?
It's going great. It couldn't be better.
One of my favorite stories you tell is about meeting Dr. Martin Luther King, and that was real huge for me.
Dr. Martin Luther King and I became very good friends because he came by and I discovered he was a Star Trek fan. He knew a lot of things that I had done and had been in and talked about them, and it was just amazing and wonderful, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
So if they make another Star Trek movie, can we expect a cameo from Lieutenant Uhura to talk to the new Lieutenant Uhura in that one?
No.
You're not gonna make an appearance for us?
No, there's only one Uhura.
And that's you.
You're damn right.
So we were just talking about a Captain Uhura. So if they do that, will you be willing to send the captain's chair for us?
I'll consider it.
What's the stipulation got to be so I can get this started?
Get it started.
Okay, yes ma'am, I will do that. Thank you so much. This has been the Q from Comic Experience Sci-Fi.
Mr. Trail, how do you like coming to these Comic-Cons?
I love it. I love it because it's the one place where I'm signing autographs and I'm taking pictures. It's a lot of times when I'm eating, people will ask me, I'll sign them, anyway. I don't care. I'll sign them anytime. But this way, this is what it's for. So I get to get up close and personal with my fans.
How'd you get started in acting?
Friend of mine offered me a job, really, helping a kid out, and I got offered a job training Eric Roberts how to box. So the director saw me and liked me and offered me a job. So it's been awesome ever since.
And how did you get hooked up with Rodriguez for all those films?
I went to go out for Desperado, and I walked into his office, and he said, you remind me of the bad guys in my high school. And I said, I am the bad guys in your high. And so we hit it off. He gave me a knife, said, twirl this, and that was Desperado. That was, 20-some years ago.
What is your favorite character that you ever played?
Well, you know what? I would have loved the movie Machete even if I wasn't in it. You know what I mean? That was just a fun-ass, kick-ass movie, you know? Like me and Jessica Alba killed about 5 people in the first 30 seconds of the movie, you know, and
I take it you like being the badass.
yeah, you know, and I played inmate number 1 for years, and now I'm kind of like the good badass, you know, so that's cool.
Now it's time for our first commercial break.
And we'll be right back with more comics, beer, and sci-fi.
The magic of movies and more isn't just our tagline. We believe in its truth. A movie theater auditorium where wonderful stories unfold is a magical place. Whether a 2-hour film, a 3-hour epic, or merely the anticipation of viewing trailers, your every viewing experience is very important to us. Imagine's a pure Michigan company, founded and operated by Michigan natives. And moviegoers like you aren't just customers, you're our guests. So when it comes to moviegoing, we know you have a choice. And on behalf of our entire team, thank you for choosing Imagine.
Welcome back to Comics, Beer, and Sci-Fi. Thanks for watching. Let's see what's next.
Hey, this is Mark at the Historic Redford Theater, here to talk to our favorite one-handed, chainsaw-wielding, demon-carving time traveler, Bruce Campbell.
Way back in October of 1981, Bruce premiered the original Evil Dead here at the Redford. We wanted to know how it felt to return.
It's fantastic. It's the salmon spawning. You know, it's 35 years later, we're here. It's a great experience. Well, I came here before we premiered Evil Dead in, '83. I saw Bridge on the River Kwai here, Lawrence of Arabia, Sound of Music. So this was the theater we knew we wanted to go to premiere the movie. So I have pre-Evil Dead history with this theater.
New history was made tonight as Bruce stopped by to promote the follow-up to his bestseller, If Chins Could Kill. His new memoir is Hail to the Chin.
Well, it's more of a mature book. I'm more of a mature person. I'm sort of in the Act 2 phase of my career. And the challenge, of course, is did you pick the right stories? Did you pick the right parts of the right stories? So that's every writer's challenge.
As part of the book signing, Bruce also rolled out his live game show, Last Fan Standing.
Well, I'm at the game show phase of my career now. I'm ready for my Wink Martindale phase. A buddy of mine, Steve Sellery, created a show that was for the troops originally. It was a military game show, and I hosted it. And I thought, hey, this could translate. So it's a fun thing. Fans get involved. It's not your boring questions. This is more like, how much does Thor's hammer weigh? Questions like that.
With appearances in several classic shows, including Hercules, Xena, and Burn Notice, we had to ask about his current role in Ash vs. Evil Dead, which is heading into its 3rd season.
Well, we get the great Lee Majors back, playing my father. There's Ash gets a daughter, season 3, so it's added complications. He not only has to save the world, he has to raise an unruly daughter. Well, by the end of season 3, nothing you thought was real will be the same. Everything's going to change. Big changes ahead for Mr. Ashley J. Williams. So hopefully you'll pick your jaw up off the floor at the end of season 3. Probably they're going to air it in February of 2018.
I'd like to thank Bruce for talking to us, and he's inspired me to write my own biography, Hail to the Gut. This is Mark. Thanks for watching.
You were one of our favorite actresses in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and of course, American Pie.
Thank you.
And we wonder what you've been up to lately.
Well, lately I've been living in South Africa, actually. My organization, Animal Avengers, it's a charity that I set up in 2001, and it was a dog and cat rescue in LA for 10 years, and now we're doing wildlife and conservation.
You're here at Comic-Con, a lot of superheroes are here, and you're like a real-life superhero for the animals.
Oh, thank you. Well, Animal Avengers, our logo was actually drawn by a comic book artist, Joe Quesada. That was when I was doing Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, actually, that he drew it for me because that's where I met him on set.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So do you like coming to these Comic-Cons?
Yeah, they're so much fun. I've actually learned a lot about myself and my movies by coming here from fans and just learning on how they affected people growing up, because to me it seems like I just did them. Like, it seems like yesterday. So I get to hear these stories, and it's actually really incredible. So I love coming to these things.
I think I just fell in love.
Hey, it's the Bradcast, and I'm here at the East Coast Comic Con, and I'm about to interview cast members from Lost in Space.
Feels good. It feels real good. It's always nice to get together with Mark and Marta and Angela.
Oh, it's always wonderful. We are family, you know.
The fans, meeting the fans and talking to them about Lost in Space. That's been always good.
They're great. It's fun to meet everybody that grew up with Lost in Space and doesn't seem to go away. It's great.
Re-experience the Lost in Space positive energy, although we're not wearing velours and turtle dickies, which is would probably make it that much cooler.
Yeah.
Well, as we speak, Angela Cartwright and I have our new book out, Lost and Found in Space.
There's a lot of experiences and memories from doing Lost in Space, so Bill and I wrote this together, and we kind of shared those experiences.
The second book is about the show, My 3 Years Lost in Space. They're both terrific reads. And you can get it through markgoddard.com.
And there's a new Netflix Lost in Space series debuting next year that I've had the pleasure of going up and seeing the production on that. So,
well, I'm excited to see it. I read the script. It's very, very good.
I don't know anything about it.
But, Netflix does a great job, so I think it'll probably be really awesome.
You know, I did a movie called Battle Beyond the Stars with Richard Thomas. I played the leader of my people, and so that's what I would like to do. I would like to be Judy Robinson in the future, and be a leader of a colony.
I think the tone of the new project is great.
Okay,
it's really a lot like what the first season of Lost in Space, done in modern times, could be.
Now it's time for a commercial break. Stick around, we'll be right back.
Stop what you're doing and come check out how we do things here at Able Ideas Comic Book Production Company. That we got your attention. Now go to our YouTube channel to subscribe and follow us on social media. Stay tuned for our uncensored DVD coming soon. And for more information, follow us at ableideas.com, where your ideas come to life.
Welcome back to Comic Experience Sci-Fi. Thanks for sticking around, and here's what we have for you next.
This is the Q from Comic Experience Sci-Fi. I'm here with Sierra Hanna from Power Rangers Megaforce.
Yeah.
How's it going? What do you like about coming to these Comic Cons? And do you like big cons or small cons?
I think I like smaller cons better because I can actually talk to people versus bigger cons. It's kind of like, okay, hey, hi, and that's it. Versus I can have a conversation with people and joke around, maybe talk about the series a little bit more in depth.
The smaller ones, though, what I appreciate is that I get time to spend with more like my fans and get to know people. It's more intimate. The people promoting it usually are more family oriented.
I just love and coming to meet all the people that loved the show growing up, being able to hear their stories and how it inspired them, and I think it's always great to hear those stories.
This one dude, man, he came up and he's like, "Hey, man," and I could see him several people back. He was in tears already, and so he finally gets up, and I'm prepared. I'm like, "Okay, this guy's not gonna get me, man. I'm gonna be good." And he starts talking to me. He's like, "Man, my dad and I used to watch Power Rangers together when I was 4. Like that was our thing, and." You know, we both loved the Red Ranger because, you know, you were brave and you were strong. And so he died 6 months after we started watching the show, and my heart just dropped. He says, so I took my Red Ranger toy to his funeral and I laid it on a pillow next to him in a casket so that he would be brave like you when he went to heaven. And I was just like, Like, it chokes me up. I still get goosebumps, you know? And how do you... I mean, you're touching people's hearts and minds.
So did you like the movie, the new movie that came out?
I did. I actually liked it. I mean, it was kind of weird sitting there in the theater and hearing the name Zordon over and over. But I mean, I really enjoyed it.
I'm pretty sure they'll do a sequel. Pretty positive. I think the next 3 or 4 are already written. So, I mean, it'd be fun to show up. Like, I'll buy a corn dog and walk on the street.
Are you trying to get into the sequel as well?
Hell yeah, I would love that. I would hope Simone would hit me up for that. I don't know if I'm going to qualify. We'll see.
Hey, this is Nick with Comic Experience Sci-Fi, and it is my genuine thrill to be sitting next to Nicholas Hammond, the very first actor to play Spider-Man and Peter Parker in a live-action context in the late 1970s show, which aired on CBS. And Mr. Hammond has had a wonderful career as a child actor. He was in The Sound of Music, and we learned you were in The Lord of the Flies. Yes. And okay, now what the fans are waiting for, tell us how you got involved in the Spider-Man project.
Well, I was doing a play in Los Angeles. I was doing an Oscar Wilde play, The Importance of Being Earnest. Who knew that the night that the CBS executives came to see the show, I didn't know they were in the audience, and the next day I got a call asking if I would come in and talk to them about playing this character I had never heard of in my life called Peter Parker. And the more I heard about it, the more interested I got, and they got interested, and we all decided we wanted to just go for this and make the guy as believable and real as we possibly could. So that was our objective, and I have to say, listening to people here today, it's wonderful to hear the stories of how many people found it a really enjoyable show when they were young.
Yes, and you were part of a pretty big boom at the time. There was the Hulk, there was Doctor Strange, there was Wonder Woman, there was $6 Million Man. How did it feel to be part of this superhero craze of the 70s?
Well, it was that. I mean, in some ways we were kind of fumbling in the dark because, I mean, at the time we shot the pilot to Spider-Man, there were no other shows that were actually on the air yet. Hulk was in production and the others were soon to follow. So we had no idea how the public would react to this. And frankly, I had no idea this kind of fan base existed. And then when it aired on CBS, and we were the highest rated show of the year for CBS, and suddenly you realize, wow, there are a lot of people out there that read Marvel comics and that are great fans of Stan's and great fans of Spider-Man. So I was honored to be a part of it.
And are you planning on doing any more shows like this?
Well, you know, I've sort of got the bug here because I've enjoyed this. This is the first Comic-Con I've ever done. But everybody keeps talking to me about New York and New York and New York. So I'm really quite tempted the idea of sort of putting my hand up to see whether there's any interest in having me at the Comic-Con in New York.
I think you'll find there might.
Well, this is Richie Rollins from Comic Experience Sci-Fi, and we're standing next to one of our favorite Ghostbusters, Ernie Hudson. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing very good. Richie, how you doing?
I'm doing great. So do you like coming to these Comic-Cons?
I do like coming to Comic-Cons. It gives me a chance to get out of Hollywood, meet the people who actually see the movies, the fans who, it's just always great. It's a lot of fun. A couple of days of people letting go and putting on their favorite costumes and just showing up. And we just, it's a blessing for us to get a chance to meet people.
You work in a lot of mediums, film, television, and voice. Do you have a preference which one you like the best?
Well, yeah, I like to work. I like to make, I'm a dad. I got 4 sons. I've always had family, so I had kids in diapers, kids in college. You got to make a living. If it's comedy, you got to be funny. If it's dramatic, you got to make them cry. If they want you to dance, you got to sing, you got to do whatever to make a living. I'm prepared to be doing it for the rest of my life. It's been 50 years now, but I'm still blessed to be working.
Throughout your illustrious career, do you have a favorite character you really love playing? And
I did the Great White Hope on stage, and that was a perfect total character. I haven't found that in film yet. So if I look at my film work, I love the character in Congo, I love the character in The Hand Rocks the Cradle, I love the character in The Crow. There's been a few that I've really enjoyed playing.
All right, it's time for a break. Stay tuned for more Comic Experience Sci-Fi. We'll be right back.
Come on, buddy, we got work to do.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Comics, Beer, and Sci-Fi.
This is the Q from Comics Beer and Sci-Fi. I'm here at the Motor City Comic Con with the original Buffy, Christy Swanson. How's it going today?
I'm good. I'm very good. How about you?
Doing all right. So tell me, what did you like most about coming to the Comic Cons?
Well, I like meeting the fans. You know, it's a lot of fun. Everybody's really nice.
Cool. So tell me about Wes Craven, because you got a chance to work with him. Is he scary in real life, or is it really nice guy?
Wes Craven, I always get emotional when somebody asks me about Wes, because he was, you know, my first director on a studio picture, and I was 16 years old and, you know, carrying the movie, and, you know, he was, he's just so lovely, you know, like he took me under his wing and he took care of me and he looked after me, and he, you know, he was just amazing to work with, and I was very sad when he passed. It, you know, heartbreaking, and he's very, very missed. And so, yeah, I went to his memorial, and I sat there and cried the entire time. So I was very sad, but you know, he left us with great movies. Yes. Yeah.
So tell me about Buffy. If it's a remake coming down the pipeline, would you be interested in being in it, or because we got to have you in it? You are the original Buffy.
Well, there's been rumors flying around about it over the years that there's going to be a remake or a part 2 or something like that. I wouldn't say no. You know, I mean, I'd like to know what it is or hear about it if, you know, there's an opportunity to do that. But, you know, it would be fun to do it again. Why not? I mean, I love Buffy, everything Buffy.
We're here for the comic book signing of the Black Eyed Peas, Masters of the Sun.
We already launched the ER app. It's going to be out after Black Friday.
And we had a chance to talk to some of the performers that are characters in the book.
Sarah! Hey. Smile. Why don't you smile a while for me, Sarah? I mean, it's an honor, man, to be on Will's project, because let me tell you something. When Black Eyed Peas first came out on the road, they came out on the road with us. Anything Will need from Flav, man, I got him.
What is your character in this book?
Her name is Emagine, and she's basically like the bodyguard of the main character, which is Zulu X. And she's just this really bad bitch who just gets it done, and she's really just a strong character.
How did you get involved with this project?
Well, I work really close with Will I Am. I'm actually under his management. He's my boss, so him and I are working really great together. I'm excited about Comic-Con, Marvel. He is really, really close with Marvel, so it's just dope.
And since Masters of the Sun is a Marvel comic book, Stan Lee came and made a special appearance.
I'm just fascinated. This is his weekday watch. You should see the one he wears on weekends.
That's right.
All right, go pick up Masters of the Sun by the Black Eyed Peas at your local comic book store. And this is Richie Rollins for Comics, Beer, and Sci-Fi.
And we're here talking to great character actor William B. Davis, probably best known for playing the cigarette-smoking man on The X-Files, but he's also got a book that he's promoting. Sir, would you please tell us about your book?
Yeah, the book's called Where There's Smoke, ... But it's not just an X-Files book. It's really the story of my life. I didn't start on X-Files until I was in my 50s. I actually did not audition for this part. Let's start with that. I auditioned for the senior FBI agent. And I didn't get that part. I got this other one that had no lines. And my friend Ken Cameron got the part with the 3 lines. We've laughed about that a lot over the years. I've laughed a little more than he has.
You started out in the theater, you say. When did you make the transition into television and film?
Well, I haven't totally made the transition into television and film. I still do a lot of theater. I direct theater more than I act in theater. Late 70s, I started doing just a bit of film and television. I was teaching acting. It was helpful. and then it just sort of grew.
You've done Stargate, you've done X-Files, you're kind of into the genre of fantasy and science fiction. Do you enjoy acting in these types of stories?
I enjoy acting, so it's sort of happenstance that it's become science fiction. I live in Vancouver, which is where a lot of science fiction is actually produced.
Did you always want to be an actor?
I had been acting as a child, and so I was doing it, but I thought I should really decide what to do with my life. So I interviewed various people in various professions. I still haven't made up my mind.
Well, take your time. We love you, and take as long as you need to.
Thanks, guys. Joe Johnson here at Stan Lee's LA Comic-Con, and I am here with the lovely, the radiant Lee Merriweather. Such a pleasure to meet you. This is a real honor. Now, we lost Adam West this year. Can you share any memories, any thoughts of working with this great actor?
Oh, it was always a joy to work with him. He was amazing in he walked such a fine line, comedy or farce, but it was right in the middle, and it was so beautiful to watch. Every time I worked with him, I admired him so much, and I miss him a lot.
I think we all do. Now, you appeared in the fantastic 1966 feature-length film. Today, when you watch it, it plays as a comedy. Was that the intent? Was that the mood on the set, to have fun and play it for fun?
Oh, absolutely. And I was lucky enough, the most of my time was spent with these geniuses. These fellows taught me so much about film work and deportment on the set and knowing your lines even before you're supposed to be doing them. I was so lucky to have this particular job. I really was.
You get a chance to see the new movies that are coming out. Anne Hathaway played Catwoman and Dark Knight Rises. What's your impression of that performance?
Yes, she was very good. She got to have some really good, mean toys. And there are going to be others, I think. I think this is a franchise that will continue on forever.
Yeah. Now, I'm not saying this because you're right next to me, but you're my all-time favorite Catwoman, and it's a real pleasure to meet you. Oh, that'll leave a mark. Oh, there we go. I'm in heaven, guys. I think I'm catatonic. Pleasure meeting you.
Wow, Nick, that was a lot of fun. We need to do that again.
Well, what are you doing next week?
Well, nothing.
Well, in that case, we'll be back next week with another episode of Comic Experience Sci-Fi's Greatest Hits.
You mean like this? See you guys next week.